Everybody, Cinephile Mike here, and it is day 74 of Award Season Reviews, Season 3. 97 reviews coming at you in 97 days, covering many of the films up for awards recognition this season. Now, some of the films I'm talking about might be awaiting their release, their re-release, or may still be in theaters. So all of the information I am providing to you, critical responses, box office information, predictions, nominations, wins, everything is current within 7 days of recording and posting. And as always, these reviews are spoiler-free. Also, make sure you check out my website, cinephilemike.com, for great additional award season content, including the Where Can I Watch It 2024 edition. That spreadsheet tracks all the nominations and wins for all of the major awards, as well as tells you how you can watch the over 200 films that I have been discussing this season and more. Not that I'm doing all 200, but you got what I mean. So, we're in our 11th theme week. This is our fun one. This is the Razzies week. We've done this one every year. We take a break from the major award season films and look at those that have been nominated for the worst, or being recognized as the worst of the years, which I don't love the term the worst. I didn't create the Razzies, or the Golden Raspberry Awards, as they are properly known. All the films I'm talking about here have been nominated for at least one or more Razzies. So, we're going to build off yesterday's shared nomination with Kraven the Hunter, but we're going to stay in the action vein. And I'm talking about Universal Pictures' Argylle. Written by Jason Fuchs and directed by Matthew Vaughn, Argylle was released just over a year ago in early February in the domestic markets. Now, by the end of the run, the film had made $45,207,275 domestically and an additional $51,013,786 internationally for a worldwide total of $96,221,061, which barely covers half the reported $200 million budget. This film's also, we have to, loophole in with this one. Critically, the film is rotten on the critical side, with 302 reviews yielding a 33% rating, but a fresh popcorn meter of 70%, culled from over 1,000 audience reviews. Now, award season-wise, the film is nominated for 2 Razzies. I kind of already mentioned the first one. It is Worst Supporting Actress for Ariana DeBose, sharing that nomination with her performance here with Kraven the Hunter, and the other is for Worst Actress for Bryce Dallas Howard. The only other 2 nods that the film has received, and they're conflicting ones like we saw earlier this week. It is nominated for Best Action Adventure Film by the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films, and the Hawaii Film Critics Society nominated it for Worst Film of the Year. Well, let's get into the spy game. Ellie Conway, played by Bryce Dallas Howard, is a famed writer known for her globe-hopping spy novel series, Argylle, which finds her titular hero in, these imagined sequences in her head, played by Henry Cavill, working with his trusted associates, Wyatt, played by John Cena, and Kira, played by Ariana DeBose. They're in the midst of a great case in tracking down a silver bullet which contains a master key will expose the evil organization known as the Division. Now, Ellie has almost wrapped the 5th book in the series, which the fans are clamoring for, but she's got writer's block. So she decides to take a trip to her mother, who can maybe help her frame that next book. En route on the train, she will encounter Aiden, played by Sam Rockwell, who seems to be just a fan of the books, but before she knows it, Ellie is dodging murder attempts, at her, and Aiden becomes her real-life Argylle. After a train escape akin to something of a Mission Impossible or Bond film, Aiden explains that Ellie's books, that she believes are fiction, are actually real accounts of espionage and activity, and the organization in the novels that she refers to as the Division are actually tracking her down because they believe that the information she puts in the books is actually telling truth, and they need the information so they can get back that information that was stolen on that master key so that the good guys are not able to stop them. Ellie's not sure what is real, so she contacts her parents, Ruth, played by Catherine O'Hara, and Barry, played by Bryan Cranston, and explains what's going on. She rendezvous with them in London, but before she knows what happens, she learns that there's a little bit more to her parents than meets the eye. And now she ends up on a global adventure akin to her books as she tries to retrieve said information on the Master Key with Aiden, at her side. Though she's never quite sure how much she can trust him. Who can she trust? And as they arrive to get additional support from Aiden's superior, Alfie, played by Samuel L. Jackson, everything Ellie believes to be true will be thrown out, and she will actually get to see a whole nother side of life that really starts to blend her reality and her imagination. Okay, Argylle's a fun film. It's a little overdrawn. It's a little overlong. A little more backstory than we need, so we end up getting a lot of information dumps. It's actually a fun film. Now, before I get into a little bit more of an analysis, I'm just going to get right off the bat and say this film does not to be, nominated at the Razzies, especially in the acting categories. The worst actress, worst supporting actress, no. I mean, was Argylle a great film? No. But when you compare it to other films, in that ilk, it can't hold a handle to them. But I applaud Matthew Vaughn for, taking the big swing. But for tongue-in-cheek action comedies like this, he stuck the landing on Kingsman. He kind of was able to balance the action with the comedy, but it falls a bit flat here. Too much exposition. At times, this film isn't sure what it wants to be. Does it want to be like a dramatic, action packed spy film like a Mission Impossible or Bond film? Or do they want to cross into that, spy comedy vein, which Paul Feig did with Melissa McCarthy in Spy, which was almost perfect? He tries to walk the line between the two and kind of doesn't fall into either ring. It's like he falls forward instead of falling into a genre. So I would maybe say, you know, worst screenplay. DeBose, she's barely in the film, even less so than Emma Roberts, so why don't we leave her alone? As for Howard, look, I enjoy her in previous films. I have no problems with Bryce Dallas Howard. And while I say there's a very funny moment in this film where she takes off her heels before she goes running, which is probably still her commentary after getting flack for running in heels in Jurassic World. But worst actress, no. Would I say that she's miscast in the film? Yes. Yeah, I appreciate when actors play against type, but given what she has to do in this film, and I'm not going to say too much without spoiling it for anyone who's unfamiliar, she kind of gets to play two different roles. One is incredible, the other one, not so much. And, so if anything, I guess I have to point the finger at Vaughn. He's the one behind the camera directing her, so she does with the direction that she's provided. So I don't want to fault her for that. The supporting players, O'Hara, Cranston, Jackson, they're criminally underused in this film, so when we do get moments with them, they are enjoyable. Stylistically, look, Vaughn's films are visually stunning. Kingsman, X-Men First Class. There's always this, elegance to them that's always nice to look at. So, you know, where do I fall with this one? It's a little tricky, because I'm also kind of revisiting this one when I'm revisiting some of the others. It's kind of like what with Madam Web or with Craven. Like I wanted more. I wanted to like it so much more, but unfortunately, it's just a little bit of a muddled mess. Argylle is a two-star film for me, but not worthy of Razzie nods. If you would like to see Argylle, it is currently streaming on Apple TV Plus, and that's where I'm going to leave it. So we are 74 films down to go with 23 left. We are getting so close. As always, if you like what you heard here, please click that subscribe button, like the video, share the video, spread the word. You can follow me, Cinephile Mike, on all social media platforms and on Letterboxd, and find lots of great additional content on my website, cinephilemike.com. All right, until tomorrow, everyone, this is Cinephile Mike saying take a break and watch something new.